In studio now, joined by Sidney Quntai, the chairman of the Kenya Coalition for Wildlife Conservation and Management. He will help us understand the standoff between the SGR project and wildlife lobby groups like the one he heads. Welcome, Sidney, and good to have you this morning. Now, this has been going on for a while. Bring us up to speed on where we are right now and what's new about this order, because I think it had been stopped previously.
Yeah, good morning, Kenyans. Yeah, this is a new order. Last year on the 19th of September, we obtained a stop order that stopped any construction or any activity on the SGR 2A, that is Nairobi to Naivasha. And unfortunately, there was a lot of violation of that order. That was net 192. And even as I speak right now, the order is still being violated. And although it was vacated on Tuesday by the National Environment Tribunal that purported it had no jurisdiction to hear our appeal, which we have actually appealed against, is that yesterday on the 5th, we obtained new orders based on an appeal that we lodged within the tribunal on 10th of January that challenges the license that was issued by NEMA, which license is faulty, which license has very serious issues because the EIA process was totally out of order, was unprocedural, there was no proper consultation as provided for in the Constitution. Other than that, even the mitigation that they purport will deal with the situation within Nairobi National Park. Totally.
Okay, now one of the reasons, or one of the reasons given for the order being dished out now and stopping is the fact that apparently the license was issued irregularly.
Absolutely. Let me just get back a bit to the process. Last year on the 8th of December, NEMA called for a public hearing at Naivasha for Kenyans who had issues with the EIA study to make presentations. We were there as a coalition, and many other stakeholders were there, including the local community, the Suswa community, and many others. And during that public consultation, 90% of those who attended that consultation were totally opposed to the way things were being rushed through, and said that the license should not be issued until due process was actually considered. But unfortunately, just a few days later, and that was actually during the holidays of Jamhuri Day, the license was issued. Yet there were issues challenging that license. So we found that to be rather strange that the Director General of NEMA would go right ahead and issue a license when already it had been challenged by 90% of those who gave their views. And we were given 90 days to make our comments. And the license was issued, in fact, 4 days only after the public hearing. So that raises a lot of issues. Then when you look at the license itself, it has very serious issues because, one, the proponent, the Kenya Railways, is not the one vested with the responsibility to ensure that the special conditions of that license are being met. It is rather the Chinese, China Roads, which to me is rather uncalled for because the proponent is Kenya Railways. Kenya Wildlife Service has a responsibility as well. But can you imagine the China Roads and Bridges is supposed to do all that, and they will be constructing the railway for like 4 years. And 2 of those years will be inside Nairobi National Park. Even what is provided for in the license to mitigate any human-wildlife conflict is totally hollow.
Now, what is the ultimate objective of the coalition with all these orders? It's been back and forth for a while now, and what's the objective?
Well, let me just state clearly that first and foremost, we are not opposed to the SGR. What we are opposed to
is the route.
The government came up with 7 routes. And why they're dead end and hell-bent on doing it through Nairobi National Park beats logic. because the routes that are there, they have not clearly indicated why they would prefer Nairobi National Park than the others. And we have offered an alternative route number 8, which is cheaper, which is environmentally friendlier, and the local community that we represent have agreed to cede land for that particular purpose. So why are they forcing it through Nairobi National Park? Unless, and I've said this several times, unless there's an ulterior motive, why are they doing that?
Okay, and since you've been following this up for quite a while, why do you think they would insist on using that route, especially given the fact that even it's no brainer that the national park is very unique? I think Kenya is the only country that has a national park within, 15 kilometers of the CBD. There are quite a number of things, and just the environmental impact. Why would they insist on doing that when there are alternatives?
Well, I think it's absolutely clear that it's a land grab. It's an intended land grab because there's absolutely no reason why they should go through there. A lot of Kenyans, and we've had this, we have lots of communication, correspondence from Kenyans, including very highly placed Jubilee government fellows, who think Nairobi National Park is a waste of time, it's a waste of space, they see it as a potential real estate, so they really don't care. And it's unfortunate that in this country, even although the Constitution really provides for protection of the environment, your right to clean health, your right to a clean environment, the environment in this country is at the lowest in terms of priorities. Kenya really don't care about what the environment is all about.
Okay, and then the other question would be, what is the way forward?
The way forward, we have said this and stated this many times, let that license be cancelled, let proper procedures be followed, let all the 7 routes be analyzed, and let the Kenyans be told that route 1 through 3, 4 up to the 7th route, the issues are A, B, C, D. Because even the EI expert, the so-called expert, has not told us what are the challenges of all the others, and given proper mitigations. If we were to use route 1, what is the issue? The worst of all, if it comes to the worst of it, maybe route number 7 is even better, because it touches a little bit of the park and then goes out all the way. But why are we not going through route number 1? The land that was set aside for the railway, our original railway, is still in place. They have not lost that land. Kibera is still open. Why are they telling us stories of rail itabomolewa Kibera? That's absolute nonsense, because this is a rail that will be 18 meters high. Who can do that?
It does not interfere with
It doesn't interfere with what's happening on the ground.
Now, in the event that they still issue the license and the construction goes forward, what does the coalition intend to do?
We are going to look at all options, and I've said this many times before. We will go the whole hog, litigation all the way. And in fact, let me just also tell Kenyans that as we speak today, next week we shall be at Arusha. We shall be seeking to engage the East African Legislative Assembly as well as the East African Court of Justice, because Kenya, like the other countries, are signatories to many of those treaties. And we should not abuse what is there internationally for the sake of appeasing just a few individuals. We, as a coalition and our partners, African Network for Animal Welfare, we went to Arusha. We managed to stop that other insidious move that was meant by the Tanzanian government to build a super highway in Serengeti. We did that. We won. And here, we are sure we'll win as well.
Should we be looking forward or expecting some protests? Because I know that was one of the methods that you used previously, where you'd have a number of protests. Are we expecting any more?
Yes, this we will do. And this time round, it will be different. We will be hogging the routes. And in fact, this Friday, we want the media to go to the park, because as I said earlier, already construction is ongoing. They are drilling and getting samples and already preparing to do the super bridge in the park, yet an order is in place. That is illegal. What annoys us most is that even as we proceed with the legal process, Kenya Railways, China Roads, and unfortunately Kenya Wildlife Service are totally violating the rule of law.
Okay.
And this we find very, very upsetting.
All right. Well, Sidney Quntai, thank you very much. Sidney Quntai is a chair for the Kenya Coalition for Wildlife Conservation, and of course following up on the SGR and pushing that it should not go through the park. So we wish you all the best in your endeavor. And well, moving on now to